What's up, YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC Fight Night Dos Santos versus Tuivasa. Let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Alex George versus Demir. Can't say his last name. And to me, Alex looks like he's decent, well-rounded, but he's just too green in his career, in my opinion. He's only 5-0 or something like that, maybe 6-0. To me, Demir is like 16-2, and I feel like he's a great striker with good takedown defense. I feel like, he's ready for this. He's on like a 10-fight win streak or something like that. And like I said, I just think Alex is way too green at this point. I think Demir's just going to keep this on the feet, light Alex up, and eventually win by knockout. Next, we got Mizuto Hirota versus Cristiano Gigos. And I think this is going to be a fun back and forth, like striking, sprawl and brawl type of fight. I think it's going to be super close. I think this is going to be kind of who can outlast the other. And I'm leaning towards Mizuto. He's never been knocked out, and I feel like to me, he just hits a little bit harder. And like I said, I think both these guys have good wrestling overall, and I think it's just whoever can outlast the other one. And I think Mizuto just has the better chin. So I think that Mizuto wins like a great back and forth fight where he wins by like third round knockout. Next, we got Elias Garcia versus Kayakara France, and to me, I think Kayakara has looked great since Ultimate Fighter. I think his striking has gone better and his takedown defense has gone better. He's got 9-1 in his last 10 with like 7 KOs. I think Elias, he's like a good striker jiu-jitsu guy. I just don't know if he'll be able to get France down to the ground. I think that Kayakara France, like I said, is the better striker, takedown defending guy. And I think he keeps on the feet. And I don't know if he'll knock out Elias, but I think he at least wins a 30-27 decision. Next, we got Kaiten Nakamura versus Salam. Can't say this guy's last name. And to me, Salam's just a striker. I don't think he's that great overall. I think he has decent submission defense, but that's about it. I think Kaiten's much better everywhere. I think striking-wise, they're probably close, but I think if Kaiten can get this to the ground, I think he wins by rear naked choke all day, every day. So I'm going with Kaiten Nakamura. I think he gets this fight to the ground sooner or later and wins by rear naked choke. Next, we got Wilson Hayes versus Ben Nguyen. And to me, this is one of these things where it's like, if Ben Nguyen can keep this on the feet, he has a chance of winning, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Ben really slows down as the fight goes on. I think that if he can't catch people early, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or something like that, because it doesn't look like he gasses, but his overall ability just seems to decrease with time. And I think Wilson Hayes, as long as he can survive that like initial burst, I think he eventually kind of wears Ben down, gets him to the ground, wins by like rear naked choke. I think overall, Wilson Hayes is better. I think his striking is just more technical and his grappling game is just way better. Ben Nguyen's just got better explosions, but I don't think that's going to help him. Like I said, I think in round 2, Wilson Hayes gets to the ground and wins by rear naked choke. Next, we got Yushin Okami versus Alexei I can't say his last name. And I know people are really high on Alexei, but my problem is he's just super old. And even though he's like 19-0, all those fights came outside the UFC other than the one against Thiago Alves, who was super old. To me, like, Yushin has the perfect style to really see if this guy's any good or not. Like, I mean, his heavy grappling style, we're going to see how good Alexei's takedown defense is. And until I see it, I have to lean towards Yushin, because Yushin's been able to ragdoll the best people in the world. I mean, especially since he's moved down to welterweight, I think he's only lost was to John Fitch, and that was his debut. Other than that, he's won 6 straight at welterweight, I think. So, until I see Alexei fight a good wrestler, and I don't know what his wrestling game is going to look like, I have to lean with Yushin. I say Yushin does what he does to everybody. He just kind of gets Alexei against the fence and wins by decision. Like, Alexei could win this fight. He could be this great up-and-comer. And we'll see after this. If he can stop Yushin, I'll believe it. But until I see it, I have to lean towards what I know. And because of that, I'm leaning towards Yushin to win by decision. Next, we got Paul Craig versus Jim Crute. And, these are 2 really good black belts, but I just think Jim Crute's the much better striker. Like, Paul Craig, also, I feel like he gasses really hard. To me, Jim Crute's way younger. I think that the longer Jim can keep this on the feet, and the longer this fight goes in general, I think it favors Jim. And I think that sooner or later, Jim's going to catch him on the feet and win by knockout. So I got Jim winning by, like, second round KO. Next is Suman Mokhtarian versus, can't say his first name, but I know his last name is Youssef. And to me, Youssef is just the much better striker, takedown defending guy. I mean, if Mokhtarian could get this guy to the ground, he has a strong chance of winning because of his jiu-jitsu, but his wrestling game's not that great, and his striking game's not that great. I think Youssef will keep this on the feet and just kick the shit out of him for as long as this fight lasts. I mean, We saw Mkhitaryan in the Ultimate Fighter, and he didn't look that amazing. I just think that, I don't know really how he's getting this fight. I think Yusuf's just way better, and I think Yusuf wins by first or second round knockout. Next, we got Jake Matthews versus Tony Martin, and these two guys have very, very similar styles. Like, the way they fight is different overall, but their styles are kind of similar. They're both, like, kickboxer, jiu-jitsu guys, and this is tough to call because these are the type of fights where you don't know who's better until it happens, kind of, you know? When guys look the same in every single one of their fights, it's kind of just a little stuffy, sorry. It's hard to tell who's better until you see them fight because they have such similar styles and they have kind of similar dominant wins. I'm leaning towards Jake. I think his wrestling overall is a little bit better, and that might edge him the rounds when he needs to get takedowns. He can. Striking-wise, I'd say they're close. Martin's probably a little bit better because he's got the reach, I think. But on the ground, like jiu-jitsu-wise, they're probably even. I just think Matthews has the edge in wrestling. And I think this is going to be a super close split decision, whoever wins. But I'm going with Jake Matthews. I think he just edges the rounds with his wrestling. Next, we got Shogun Rua versus Tyson Pedro. And to me, this fight looks a lot like when Shogun fought the other Australian dude. I think people think he's done. It's hard to tell where he is. I mean, he got knocked out really in his last fight, but he won 3 fights in a row going into that, and he looked good in all of those fights. So it's really hard to say. I think if Tyson Pedro just focuses on trying to get this to the ground, he could win pretty easily because I think he's kind of the bigger guy at this point. But I just don't see it. I don't think Shogun's done yet. You know what I mean? I think he looked too good in too many fights in a row. I know he was injured and out for a while, so this could be the end. But I'm holding out hope that he's still got one more decent fight in him at least, if not more. And this is the fight where we're going to see if he's done or not. Just like when he fought the other Australian guy a few years ago. So this is really do or die time for Shogun. I do think he's the better striker. I think Tyson Pedro's definitely getting better at striking, but Pedro Rua's better. Like I said, if Pedro gets this ground, I definitely think he has a strong chance of submitting Shogun, but I don't think he's going to do that. I think he wants to strike. He's been showing that he likes to strike with people. And like I said, I don't think Shogun's done. I think Shogun catches him in the first round like how he did when he fought the other guy in Australia. So I got Shogun by round 1 KO. Next we got Mark Hunt versus Justin Willis. And Justin Willis is a decent up-and-comer, but my biggest problem with him is he kind of does what Mark Hunt does. He keeps his hands low and he just tries to throw fast punches. And that's decent, but I feel like Mark Hunt's just way better at that than Justin is. I don't think Justin's a decent wrestler, but I wouldn't say he's this amazing wrestler. I don't think he's going to be able to take Mark Hunt down and just control him from the top. I think that this is the perfect fight for Mark Hunt to go out on because it just feels like Justin's wrestling versus Mark Hunt's takedown defense. I would edge Mark Hunt takedown defense. And striking-wise, once again, I edge out Mark Hunt. I think that this will be a pretty slow fight, but I think Mark Hunt just wins every round. He might knock him out. It depends if he can land that big shot. But like I said, I think these two have not necessarily similar styles, but the way they strike is kind of similar. And I just think Mark Hunt's better at that. So I'm leaning towards Mark Hunt. I say he at least wins the decision. Maybe gets a second or third round knockout. And finally, we have Junior Dos Santos versus Tai Tuivasa. And to me, I really don't think Tai has a super great shot at this. I think if he can catch him early, he'll win. But to me, when he fought Andrei Arlovski, I thought Arlovski won, and I also thought he slowed down as the fight went on. He didn't look as fast in the third as he did in the first. And Junior Dos Santos is going to fight at the same pace for all 3 rounds. You know, that's something people don't give JDS a lot of credit for, is even though he's been knocked out a few times here and there, he fights the exact same pace all 5 rounds. You know, just because he's not as cardio conditioned as Kane doesn't mean his cardio isn't also super fucking amazing. I also think on the ground in any situation, I lean towards Junior. And that's always something he can do if he wants. I think that if he takes Tai down, he's going to dominate him. He's probably not going to do that, but if he wants to, I think he could. And like I said, I mean, the first 2 rounds, I think Tai has a good chance of knocking him out. Just because Junior Dos Santos has been knocked out so many times at this point. But I just don't see it happening. I think this fight goes into the 4th or 5th, and by that time, Ty's going to be really tired. And I think JDS is just going to start overwhelming him with his consistent volume. And I just think JDS wins by like 4th or 5th round knockout. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.